So one of the premises around innovation that we have at Wells is that we want to be in service of our customers. So what we're really doing is trying to focus, largely on customer needs that don't really change that much, right? They're interested in paying, saving, storing their money, borrowing for something that they want to do. So those kinds of things, they don't really change over time. But what happens is technology changes, right? And our ability to serve customers changes quickly, right? So even in my career of 16 years at Wells, I started building, not alone, but on the team that was building the website, right? And then, 7, 8 years later, then we had mobile, right? And now we're moving into APIs and kind of distributed connectivity with people that are using our products. And so, I think banks have a choice whether to follow or whether to lead. And so we've made the decision that we want to lead, right? And so we've got a great team. We're making big investments. We've started the Wells Fargo Startup Accelerator for exactly this purpose, which is to try to drive us forward in service of our customers. And the trick is we think if we can drive innovation, we can pressure our competitors to try to keep up with us, right? And I think one of the most interesting things that I learned when I was working at Intel was that Intel was perhaps never the first to design something. And you'll hear this from Andy Grove, who just recently passed away. It's about execution. So your ability to bring innovation to your customers in scale is something that Intel did while other competitors struggled. They might have out-designed them, but they couldn't out-execute. And at the end of the day, when Dell is trying to ship computers at Christmas time, they need somebody who can actually execute. And then one of the tricks was that Intel would actually drive innovation faster and faster, and that really pressured all of its competitors who might be able to out-design, but could never out-execute. And so it's kind of that same construct for us, which is if we continue to innovate, we raise expectations, that's a place to differentiate. And again, it all goes back to trying to service our customers and give them things that they really value, right? There's no point in innovating where there's no value to a customer. In the Wells Fargo Startup Accelerator, one of the things that we're looking for is people that can help Wells Fargo serve our customers or run our business. And so what is somewhat unique in what we're doing is that we're looking at business plans and trying to bring them in to the potential people that would buy that product, or I call them the buyers. What is going to happen is, unlike other accelerators where they might give you space, they might give you computers, they might give you access to a CFO, that's not what we're doing, right? There are other accelerator programs where young companies can go and get that. What we're about is about sitting you down with somebody who wants to buy your product, but perhaps can't because you're not quite at that stage. And so it's spending 6 months with them to develop and culture your product at the same time Wells Fargo is taking a financial stake in your company. And you have that opportunity. Ultimately, most people are there to try to be a vendor into Wells Fargo. And then hopefully in that process, you kind of graduate from the experience with the ability to chalk up Wells Fargo as a customer. While it's not guaranteed, that's what everyone's striving for. That's our interest as well. Or maybe it's your first Fortune 500 customer. And that takes me back to the really powerful inflection point where we connect with people is when they're striving to have their first bank client or their first kind of Fortune 500 client. Because those are both unique verticals to get into, really important. And it's really nice to have somebody who's friendly and wants to help see you succeed. And this isn't a separate venture group. This is literally the line of business that wants to buy your product, but is just hesitant at that point in your maturity cycle that you're ready. So we found it's really engaging, and we've had some great successes. So it's been a ton of fun. FinTech is exciting. It's not necessarily new. When I started in this business, 1998, people were talking about electronic cash and micropayments and e-cash, digicash. There were hundreds of companies. They were going to change the way the companies IPO'd and raised capital. So these things thematically come back. But what you have is that I think the banks are very well positioned because we have long-standing relationships with customers. We provide capital, we afford trust. And honestly, if you look back over the history, what banks have always done, we're actually very early adopters of technology, right? And so we'll go back and pull the best of that technology forward for our customers to serve them as they go about their business, trying to save their money, borrow, or make payments. We're taking the best of whether it's originally with punch cards and databases, right? More modern internet technologies, mobile payments. These are things as soon as some of these technologies are out, we're bringing them into our customers, right? And so one of the things we're really excited about doing is we're actually going to be rolling out a biometric that's using your eye. And I can't think of another industry that with a phone, a standard phone with no special features, that you can go ahead and authorize somebody to move money out of a corporate account, right? So you're talking about a significant level of security and comfort, with just a normal phone using your kind of not a retina scan, but a scan of your eye and some of the blood vessels in it. So we'll be, I think, one of the first industries ever to really roll this out en masse. And so that's what excites us. And it's not because that's cool technology, but it's because our customers have a challenge, particularly our business customers, and then they carry these RSA rotating tokens. And a customer that, like a CFO of a company, they could have 10 banks. And so they carry a little keychain tree of all of these RSA tokens so they can securely log into all the different bank systems, right? And we want our customers to be able to access us, when and where they want, and that doesn't mean when they're carrying their little tree of stuff around. And so we're really energized about that, and it's a great example of an accelerator customer that we sat down with, we collaborated with, already had some great technology, but where we were able to kind of mentor them, and then in that process get comfortable that technology really worked, and ultimately go through kind of the startup accelerator experience to a proof of concept to them moving into vendor status. One of the big opportunities for the banks going forward, with all the investment and all of the brilliant ideas that are coming up out of fintech, right, is you can kind of break it down into some of these folks, there's an opportunity for them to be a vendor or partner to the bank, right? Some of them are going to be outright competitors, right? And then other ones, the banks may say that's actually something that feels so proprietary that I would actually like to own that, for my bank, and we'll be making acquisitions. And so I think you're going to see the full spectrum of ideas as people with good ideas, find great customers in the financial services sector, which I think is something like 18 to 20% of, kind of typically for software companies, like it's a big piece of that market opportunity. So that's exciting. The opportunity to be acquired if you have something that's a little bit more proprietary. The opportunity to be a vendor to, some 6,500 FDIC insured companies if you're doing something like cybersecurity and you really have that nailed. That's a huge portfolio of customers to work with. I think you have the benefits of regulation, right? If you have that same cybersecurity capability, wouldn't it be great if you actually had the regulators perpetuating and pushing your solutions forward, right? So there's some really interesting opportunities as regulations change, as new technologies emerge to help the banks be successful. And the reality is like that's where the customers are, right? And that's where the money is, arguably being made. And I've seen so many people stay small to try to own it all, versus people who engage, with the distribution system that the banks represent and, get big fast.